Greetings and welcome, everyone. It's All You Can Geek Gamecast, episode 458. I'm one of your hosts, Jim Gass, joined by Mike Sneedy.
What's up?
And Tony Korkanakis.
I have the gratitude.
Welcome, guys. Corey will be joining us shortly. Work calls. And he's on one. So,
Call of Duty?
Yeah. So he'll be joining us shortly. But until then, let's kick off this podcast with what we've been up to. Tony, you've played nothing, right?
No,
it's been a dead week for you.
Yeah, I just stared at my wall because I was like, you know what, I could be doing something, but
so man, you finished Fire Emblem.
I couldn't stop. I literally could not stop playing Fire Emblem until I beat it. Like every moment that I wasn't working or doing like specifically adult, I need to do this stuff. I was like, yep, time to play Fire Emblem.
I started it the first night I got out to Pennsylvania, and I restarted it because I did the beginning part of the choice when I was.
And you regretted it?
I was intoxicated when I did it, so I woke up and I'm like, why did I do this? So I restarted it.
Why did I do this? Why did I do this?
So I restarted, and that's.
Wait, who did you drunk pick? What house did you drunk pick?
The girl.
Black Eagles?
Black Eagles,
okay.
Yeah. So I chose that first, and then I'm like, I'm like,
of
no.
course you woke up next to the girl. It's like, oh, what did I do?
And I'm like, no, wait, I don't. Why did I pick this house? And I'm like, I'm gonna. So
it's funny to me, too.
Yeah. So I don't know why I did it, but I went back and I restarted, and I'm in the Blue Lions, and that's my house I chose, but I'm 2 hours in, so this game is. I can see, like, you're going Game of the Year vibes right off the bat, right?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's one of those things where I'm just trying to think of anything else that's coming out that could potentially top it. So, like, Borderlands 3, if the multiplayer is strong enough where, like, that experience is just completely overwhelming, like, Overwatch or something like that, World of Warcraft, that kind of thing, that could realistically take it. Or maybe if Death Stranding is just like return to form for Kojima, like but I'm skeptical of that. Like, I mean, I still don't know how the fuck that game is supposed to play.
We don't know. Nobody knows.
This just absolutely sucked me in, and it's one of those things where as soon as I beat the game, I watched the credits, and I was just like, okay, new game plus. I just like dove into that, and I rarely ever do that for a game. So it was like, yep, back on my bullshit. Just like, yep, let's do this.
Yeah.
And it's kind of nice because, not to spoil this, I'm just talking mechanics, but like there is implementation in the New Game Plus where like, if you want to, the subsequent runs are kind of like victory laps almost, because like you can inherit certain things from your previous playthrough, and it's just like, okay, well, like all my students are just like roided out to like. It's like they just like one-shot mobs. It's like, all right, well, this second run is gonna go so much faster because it's like, yeah, you're like a end level like capable dude right now. So it's like, I don't know.
That's cool.
But, the story just so good, and the way it was just really rewarding. There's some parts. Hopefully, actually, if you and Corey beat it, I'd like to do a spoiler cast on it because it's one of those things where something that happens like halfway through the game, I was just like, oh shit, I really need to talk to people about this.
I've heard there's a nice little switcheroo, not a switcheroo, but I don't really know. I heard there's like a twist, a plot twist. Yeah, plot twist.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
There's something happens. You're just like,
no, I mean it's not. Is that a spoiler? Again, back to this. I don't think that's a spoiler. I'm sorry.
A little.
I have to expect. I expect a plot twist.
It's a micro spoiler.
And then at the end, I was just like, oh shit! Like, I was just kind of like thinking, I was like, okay, like. I have all these feelings right now, and I don't know what to do with them. And I had to rely on like internet strangers to like talk about it, and like not to like dismiss any of my internet friends or anything like that, but like it's different when it's just like typing like anything like, oh yeah, LOL, that was really cool, blah blah blah, or like whatever. It's like I need to like verbally talk to someone about this game.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna get to work on this. The thing is like I played Ultimate Alliance as well on this trip because I was like, I can't forget this game. I don't want to forget this game because I'm enjoying it. But the problem you have, and the more I play that game, the more I realize how incomplete that game is. Like it's not finished. It wasn't cooked long enough.
I've played a lot more with it, but I'll let you guys talk about it.
Well, hold on. Well, so real quick, last thing I'll say. Immediately, I bought the Fire Emblem Season Pass after I beat the game. Because I was like, yep, whatever you guys are giving me, I don't fucking care. Like, I just want it. So I bought it.
Like, I mean, the game is fantastic. It's so much more. It's polished. It's tight. Like the combat. I love the combat. It's exactly what I loved about all the Fire Emblem games I've played. And then it's got really good graphics. Cutscenes are dramatic. There's voice acting throughout it. It just seems like it's everything I wanted. It's exactly what I was hoping for, and I was hoping they wouldn't screw it up. And they've delivered.
What I would say for that is like kind of like how. Maybe not to the same degree, but like how Breath of the Wild took the Zelda like formula or the mainstays and just kind of shook it up and took it to that next level where it's like, hey, we're doing like, crafting, we're doing open world. Like, I love that Fire Emblem's like, hey, we're taking that base strategy RPG element and we're adding all the Japanese RPG stuff, like stuff you like the school life, the, fishing, like all that kind of stuff. And it's just like, it takes that product and like just elevates it to that next level. And it's like, on paper it sounds silly, but like playing this game, I'm like, I have to recruit you. Like I have to get on my team. Like get on my team, motherfucker. So
yeah. It's so far so good for me.
So that's what
Ultimate
I'm
Alliance.
curious about as someone who doesn't as someone who doesn't know the Fire Emblem series though. Like I've heard like people rave about it, this type of game, and I don't really understand what makes like a game in this genre so much better than other ones.
Well, it's I don't want to. Well, I guess it's the combat. It's not the combat. It's the. For me, it's the relationships of the characters. It's like the personalities.
So it's more like character story based that takes it to the next level.
Yeah, it's the customization of what you can do with those characters eventually.
So Mike, the easiest way I can explain it is like older Fire Emblem games for the most part. It's like strategy RPG game, which is it's kind of like a glorified, more complicated 2D chess. That's what it is. You have units, enemy has units, and you got to like usually wipe the other units out. The twist in Fire Emblem is by default, unless you change it. Now with the newer games, you can change it. If a unit dies in battle, they're dead. Like you never get them back. Like they straight up die on the battlefield. They even have like a death like sequence where it's like, like I regret not being able to, whatever. Like. And it's just like, oh shit, and like, some people like are okay with that, and then other people are like me, like I'm like, nope, reset this fucking match. So you could be like an hour deep into a fucking map, and some bullshit asshole just like fucking crits your dude and kills him. You're like, it could be rage inducing. So that's one element, but the other element I would say is this game in particular does well is like adds to the RPG element of it. So beforehand. The RPG stuff is really light, where it's like, hey, between battles, your characters can like talk to each other if they've been bonding on the battlefield, aka like fighting near each other. And there still is that in this sequence in this game, but like there's other stuff to do. Like your character will go out in like the school area, which is new for this one, and it's like you talk to students, you can invite them for like. It sounds silly. You can invite them for tea, you can invite them to dinner, like all this stuff, and then you help them build their relationships with each other. So it just kicks it to that next level, and I would say like not to the depths of like say Mass Effect, but it's towards that, and it just like this is one of those things that's kind of like been missing, and now that it's here, like I just want them to keep going with that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
So, yeah. Anyways, Mike, Ultimate Alliance.
Ultimate Alliance.
I didn't want to lose. I didn't lose track of this myself, so I started
again. So, like I said, like I'm not. That's not my genre, so I've been sticking with Ultimate Alliance.
Yeah, and I get it.
And I'm playing it a lot because I guess I was real hungry for a new game before this. Because again, like there is a lot of frustrating aspects to it, and I'm to the like super end game part of this. So as you may know, when you beat the game once, the story, you get to play again on superior difficulty. Now I was hoping that would be just an up difficulty, but where everyone goes back to like lower levels, so you could level up your older characters. It just might be the characters you neglected. I mean, like those level 6s that you got that you never played with. I was hoping it would be that, just a little harder, but no. It starts as if it's just another level. So every like the early level people are like level 50 something in the beginning of your second playthrough. So I use basically my first team and my second team pretty much. I do have a second team at least, and I went through that, and that unlocked another difficulty level for this, which I didn't know existed, the ultimate, and a whole other rift section for your. So it's like, oh, you can play through again. It's even harder, higher level, and there's all these new rift things you got to unlock. to do even more challenges. Yeah. So I'm like, I was hoping for like a character or something. I think I may have heard somewhere that happened, but it might have been bullshit. Because I didn't see that confirmed anywhere else.
Well, isn't it the big man himself?
That's the end. That's a actual Rift challenge.
Okay.
It's really hard. I haven't done it yet, even though I am almost 10 levels higher than that. But it's real hard because you fight the entire Black Order and then him. So then I decided to start the third playthrough, and it's a huge difficulty spike. I died on Ronin.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm like, I was surprised because previously I only died like once in the actual story. I die a lot and fail a lot in the rifts, but only once in the story I died, but I died on Ronin, and I'm like, oh my god. So that, and now I'm also understanding the ISO 8, the endgame level stuff, and it's super tedious. You have to, in order to use it like to its fullest extent when you get a lot, first of all, it caps at 1,000, which I was near having at this point. And you have to constantly upgrade them all to make them like, you don't want to, at this point I don't want to use anything that isn't the AA, like giant chunk things.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to break things down and upgrade. You got to choose which one you want to actually keep and just combine them. And you got to just keep doing that over and over until you get your handful of like big ones you want to use for everyone. And it's really a broken system. It should not be this complicated to get. Like if you actually go through with that, you can make like huge differences in like certain things, but in order to get there, it's a lot of just repetitive.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
Not optimized menu navigation, and it's
like I said, a lot of it. There's nothing bad. Like it's not. It's a good game. It's a solid game. Let me say, it's a solid game. It's like everything is like. Could you just make this like cook it a little longer? You know what I mean? Yeah.
And I just kind of wish that like. I love the Infinity Rifts and the ability to play certain sections back with certain modifiers, but playing the story again and again now for a third time, it does make me sort of worry a little bit about what their DLC story stuff is, if they're expect to get this much mileage on replaying the same thing over and over, but we'll see. I'm still looking forward to it. I'm trying to stay in it enough to get at least Cyclops and Colossus in a few weeks and still be like in the game, but
yeah.
We shall see. I hope it's a little bit more expansive with the story part of the first DLC.
Yeah, we'll see.
See, for me, it's one of the things where, like, I think Fire Emblem is going to carry me through until Cyclops and Colossus are released, and I think I just might pick up the game again at that point and just finish the rest of the game with those two guys, within my X-Men squad, because, like, I'm just so excited for that right now. So
I really hope that with that update they fix the palette swap colors, and they just like I really like to do that.
They just need to add like new ones. Like,
real costumes. Yeah. Like real ultimate costumes. That would be big.
I think for maybe the DLC stuff, like the paid season pass or whatever, we might see true like, actual costume changes, but they're not, at least, I mean, I really don't see it happening where they would just release like, hey, here's new like total cosmetic overhaul of costumes. Right? I could be wrong. I mean, they actually have done some decent content for like the previous Warriors games and stuff like that, so I could be wrong, but it's just like, for one, I hope this isn't a spoil. I'm not going to spoil anything specific, but from what I had heard was that in typical Marvel fashion, at the end of the game and the credits, there's something that kind of like teases or sets up, a future sequel of sorts or something like that. So I really expect us to get an Ultimate Alliance 4, and that's where I'm hoping they can, just build upon it. Because like you said, like, I think we said this like 3 weeks in a row now. It's like, it's a good game, and it could be great. And that's the thing. It's like, it's like, I don't know. I can't think of an apt comparison, but that's what it is. It's like, you just know, you love it, but it's just like, you could be doing better.
It could be better. Yeah, Corey, anything new you've played?
Fire Emblem. I listened a little bit to what you guys were saying because I just had to take a quick work call there, but just wanted to, talk about my experience a little bit. But as far as app comparisons go, it's like for me it's not, but I think it might be like peanut butter is good and chocolate's good, but when you put them together, it's like magical, right? So it's like that's what you got with the Ultimate Alliance.
It's more than the sum of its parts.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
You need to just get that element where it all comes together and it's just like a Reese's Pieces or something.
Yeah.
But in any case, Fire Emblem, I think I agree with you guys as far as what makes Fire Emblem popular right now and why it's kind of been on the rise. I'm about 10 hours in, I think now.
What
so I got
chapter?
another 5. I don't even know what the chapter is. I think it's still chapter 1 because I kind of like when the guy goes go to part 1 and blah blah blah.
Oh.
It's like
Yeah, it's weird. Okay.
yeah. So I'm at maybe like the second major mission for the kids or whatever.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
But in any case, because I don't want to spoil anything, obviously,
Yeah.
I did want to mention because you had said, when you play this game, you can lose a character, and like the first battle, they don't let you lose a character.
Okay, you're right. Yeah.
Right.
Because it's a mock
So
battle. Yeah.
Right. I was like, whatever. I throw these guys at them. Boom. Whatever. Fine. And then second battle I played, I was like doing the same thing, like whatever, throw everybody at each other, and then some dude dies. I'm like, whatever. This guy's a shit anyway. So I don't care. And then I start playing, and like I'm playing the game, and like probably because I did one part where I just did like 6 battles in a row just to level up one weekend or whatever. I'm like, I feel like I'm like short-handed. Like, what the heck is going on? And then I was like, oh shit, this guy died. I don't have him anymore.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm sure. You would make such a bad teacher, Corey. Like,
Are we
you're
missing
on the
it?
battlefield with your students.
You're like, are we missing somebody? Is everybody here?
It's like, what's the heck?
Let's get a head count.
Yeah, whatever. It's like weeks later. You're like drinking. It's like, I think we're missing somebody.
exactly. So,
Oh shit!
Where-
He died.
Where'd Harry go?
But the problem is,
Wait, he died?
he shows up
Yeah.
in the freaking monastery.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's
Yeah.
not dead. He just won't
Oh.
fight anymore.
Yeah. Well, so like the newer games switched it to like they're not dead. It's just they're critically wounded, so they can no longer fight on the battlefield or something like that. And that's like some watered down new
That's
school
the thing,
shit.
is, like, I
Sounds
saw
like
it,
some 4 kid stuff right there.
Yeah. Back
Yeah.
in the
I
day,
saw
we didn't
him.
do that shit.
And I was just like, oh yeah, that guy. I don't really care about this guy. He's kind of, like I said, he's a little douchey, so
Yeah.
screw him.
Dude, back
But,
in the day, the older games, like straight up, like you like they'd be like, "Oh, I miss my husband" or "I miss my wife" or something like that. And you're just like, feel guilty, like yeah.
But yeah,
The credits would roll and it
No.
would go to that character and be just deceased. It would just be like,
Yeah, that's it.
Died
like,
in
this
battle.
person died
Yeah.
in battle. He died in battle.
like you're getting all these stories about where everybody went in their future and what happened to their lives, and then you get to that character died in battle.
Yeah. I
That's
mean, this
the
guy
idea.
had nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, he first. It was literally the first battle that you could die in.
What was the guy's name? Do you know? Or what he looks
The
like?
guy with the flower,
matter.
like, got the weird cut. He's
Oh, the
in the
weird
golden
cut.
deer.
Yeah.
Got a
I know
flower
what
in.
you're talking about. Yeah.
So like,
yeah.
I was like, whatever, that guy. I don't give a shit about him. And
My short hand.
but yeah, as I was going on, I was like, wait a second, I really need to level up now because like I feel like there's way more guys on the other side than there are on my side.
I'm missing so much. Dude, that's hilarious. And then, it's funny you mentioned that because one of the things I will say, and it's quality of life, and I guess purists, like Fire Emblem purists, would probably look down on this, but that Divine Pulse feature is so useful. Like, it's so like, Michael, I was saying earlier, like, back in the day, like, because the thing, there's so much RNG, and like some maps, like it's just like they have like fog of war, so like you could literally just walk on 3 dudes, and then like it's like, oh well, that character's gonna die next turn, so it's like restart this map, like soft reset. And there would be battles where it's just like you, again, like 10, 20, 30, 40 minutes, and then you're at the end, and then some asshole gets a lucky crit, and you're like, well, reset, like time to replay this. So this game introduces this feature where you can
Retreat.
through like divine bullshit, like you can actually like rewind time, like you're using like the time suit eventually.
Yeah, that feature that they introduced right in the beginning of the game with that
Yeah.
green chick.
Yeah, like you can use like the time stone, and you
So
can
it's
like
part of the lore.
you can actually go back like several turns or to the very beginning of the battle and be like, okay, well that didn't work out. Let me try a new strategy. So like it's quality of life for me because like instead of starting like an hour-long battle from the very beginning just because of one bullshit, like you can like just go back like 5 minutes. Because the
I
last
did not know that.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
Oh, you could have saved him.
Like, the game teaches you, dude.
Does it?
Yeah, the game literally, like, there's a tutorial. Like,
I missed that then.
She literally goes, "Hey, use this power, and you can dictate." Like,
In the beginning, when you like save the chick and then you get killed or whatever. Yeah, I remember that. I didn't realize you could do it in the battle. I was like I thought that because like afterwards you get to choose, do you want to turn on classic mode or whatever the new feature? And I thought classic mode means turn that off.
No.
So no, I was like whatever, and so
no, dude. Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Just press ZL, dude.
Yep.
And then. Yeah, like glass shatters, and you see like literally like most recent things, and you can just go back. Because like the last map took me like probably 2 hours, I'd say, and like that was after like 30 minutes.
Some of these battles can like take a while, so it's like you do need to like you don't want to have to start from the beginning. It's like, oh well, fuck this. Yeah. I mean, they do have that retreat feature though, which allows you to keep your progress and go back to the beginning of the battle.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, I've never done that. Interesting.
So, I don't know. All right. Let's get into the podcast. We have a topic tonight. What is the topic? Oh, streamers. Video game streamers, which is going to coincide with some...
Influencers.
So let's kick this news off with Smash Ultimate. It's the Evo, which I think it gets a lot of flack at Evo usually, doesn't it? Like, people give shit on it. They like
people,
shit on it.
I mean, fighting game elitists like to because they're like, they still, like, it's gone down tremendously since, like, Melee days, but, like, people are still like, oh, it's not a fighting game. It's like, well, it's the #1 game at Evo, so...
breaks Evo's peak viewership record. Yeah, this thing set some massive records at the Evo.
Yeah, I think it was the most #1 entered tournament ever for them, too. So it's, like, it's breaking records all across the board. That's partially what I went up to. So, like, I was watching Evo while playing Fire Emblem, and there were some awesome matches. Like, I know you guys probably don't follow the scene that well, but, like...
Not much.
It's interesting because, I mean, mostly I only watch the North American circuit because obviously it's the easiest to watch and follow and stuff like that. But because Evo is like pretty much drawing all the best talent in the world, there were these Japanese players that were just upsetting like rankings left and right. So like, for example, like tier lists, and for the most part, I don't really follow my tier lists. I like characters and mechanics and stuff like that. But when you get to like the top tier, uber competitive, like it can make differences and stuff like that. So like in the North American circuit, it's like usually like right now Joker's top tier, previously Bayonetta in the last game was, Cloud was in the last game, stuff like that. And the Japanese players came out in force with like people like Wario or Duck Hunt Dog. Mike, I think you might have tuned in for that one match. So the guy who is pretty much commonly referred to as the #1 player in the world, his name is MK Leo. He got knocked out on day one by this Japanese player with Mega Man, who is like commonly like mid-tier at best. Got sent to the losers bracket, and then I'm spoiling this because I don't think anybody on the podcast cares.
Okay.
So MK Leo fights his way through the losers bracket and just dominates all the way. Gets back into the winners bracket, right? So the #2 Smash player commonly accepted is Tweaks or something like that. And the streamers, the commentators are even saying like, oh, like Tweaks has never been able to beat him before, but that was with the last Smash. Could this, could Ultimate change up, this thing and stuff like that? And the way Evo works is if you're in the winning bracket, you just have to win 2 out of 3 matches, or 3 out of 5. I'm sorry, something like that. 3 out of 5 matches. So Tweaks goes win, and then everybody's freaking out. They're like, holy shit! And he was like playing Pokemon Trainer, another like low to mid tier character, and people are like, he could do it. He could take it all. He just needs to win this 3rd match, and it's over. And he was up 2 lives in a 3-stock battle, and the crowd is just going nuts. And then he just flubbed it. He just flubbed it and lost that 3rd match. And they're like, okay, well, he has 2 more chances. And then I just think it mentally broke him because then he proceeded to lose the next 2. So because MK Leo was in the losers bracket, what happens is they perform a reset because you're coming from losers.
Right.
And it's like, okay, well, now we play another set, best 3 out of 5. And then MK Leo won 3 in a row. So Tweaks went 2-0 and up 2 lives in 3rd match, and then reverse swept the whole way through. And it was kind of soul-crushing because it's like, you could just tell that every match the dude is getting more and more defeated, like mentally. You could see, like, in his face, he was just like, I had the best opportunity and I just fucked it up, and it's just like, oh man, like
Can't dwell on that shit, man.
I know,
Nope,
I feel
nope.
free. Just like
Can't live in the past.
But
So-
it was an incredible thing to watch. And I heard
That's awesome. That's a great story too.
yeah, definitely. So
That's cool.
Like-
All right. We've got news that, let's see, Halo Infinite, Xbox One version will not be like second class, apparently. I'm guessing we're getting one version of this game, which will be able to just display different levels of graphics based on the console.
and just like, I think I even said it before, like they're building it for the Xbox One.
Yeah.
And it's just going to have enhanced features on.
Yeah, it'll be 4K straight, 60
Yeah.
frames or whatever on the Scarlet, and Xbox One X will be 4K 30 or 1080p 60 frames. So we're gonna get one disc though. I believe it. I think going forward we're gonna have one. They're not gonna be like Xbox One version of this and Scarlet version of this. It'll just be the Xbox disc, and you play it in both consoles. So that's my theory.
Yeah, I think
You have to
it'll
flip
be
it?
like.
Yeah.
Well, I think I agree with you that it'll be one disc, but I think just for retail and just because consumers are stupid, I think they're going to have to switch over to new packaging for whatever Scarlet's going to be called, Xbox 2 or
Oh,
You
yeah.
can just put that. If you buy the Scarlet version, you could put it in your Xbox One if you want.
right, exactly.
It's
And
just
it might
the
be something-
packaging. It's like the fucking PUBG like box. Like it does not a disc really.
There's no
It's just
disc,
a
yeah.
download.
Yep.
It's just you're not buying shit. You're just buying a package so that you can go out in the retail store and buy something instead of
Yep.
doing digital.
Yep. And in other news, we got Gamescom coming up. I saw this actually posted before. More than 15 game publishers are going to premiere new content at Gamescom.
Elder
and make
Rings
announcements.
there.
I know that Kojima is going to be there. I know we're going to see some.
What'd you say,
more-
Frank?
Elder Ring's gonna be there.
Yeah,
So
Elden Ring. Yep.
Elden Ring, and we're going to get more of whatever the hell Kojima's giving us. We don't
Death
know.
Stranding.
Death Stranding, whatever
Apparently,
that is.
Sega is announcing a new AAA title, so that'll be interesting.
That's
I
cool.
kind of wonder what it's going to be.
Yeah, we've got 2K there,
There's
Activision. These are world premiere content. 2K,
The
2K.
movie, the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sonic the movie, the game, that would be hilarious to me.
I wish they would do
Mike,
that.
I don't see any Rocksteady on here still.
No, that's never gonna happen.
Apparently not. Epic Games, Google Stadia.
I've honestly been talking down like YouTubers that are trying to like promote that shit on YouTube. I'm just like, it's not happening. Just wait. Like,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
no actual news. Like they've actually sometimes plainly said it's not happening anytime soon.
Yeah.
Stop trying to hype this. It's not happening yet.
Stop trying to make fetch happen.
Yeah. So I mean, look, Gamescom looks good. It's August 19th. It's gonna be a lot of premiere. That's gonna be an awesome news week
But
for
I
that
will
stuff.
say, I certainly did look for Rocksteady's name there.
Yeah, I did too. That's what I just did. I just looked at that list. And I'm like, wait, no Rocksteady. God.
We're not going to hear anything until next year. Like,
If
I
we
honestly
do.
just think it's going to be new system, like
Yeah.
next generation.
Yeah.
Like, there's no point at this.
Well,
No.
the other theory is, of course, that Montreal has a real next Batman-y one, but that they're taking forever too. So
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah, they are. All right. This gets us into our topic. This next thing of news.
Oh, I just want to say Destiny's DLC got delayed until October, which actually is a really good thing.
Yes,
Because
that turns
I'm
out.
playing Borderlands.
Yes. You
And,
still won't be done
wouldn't
with
have
Borderlands
thought-
at that point. You can't log
No,
300
I will
plus
never be
hours.
done.
Yeah.
But
I'll never
yeah.
be done.
So, all right. Let's see. We've got the news. The final bit of news we have ties into our topic. Ninja has announced that he signed with Mixer, which is Microsoft's company, and leaving Twitch. And so that was a big announcement, I guess, over the weekend. And he already broke records for subscribers, more than he had before on Twitch. His max, I think, was like 260 or 250, 250,000. Sorry, and now it's up to 500,000 on the first weekend of streaming.
He
for
had
him.
He had a million.
He had a million already. Oh my god, I missed that part.
Plus,
too.
Microsoft's giving everybody their first month free subscriptions to his
Oh, so yeah,
shit.
nice. So man, he must have gotten paid massively. I'm just
No,
wondering.
it was
it was
reported 50 million.
50 million.
50 million.
Mhm.
Woo, $50 million. I mean,
Like,
you gotta look at his product. I mean, you're giving up your product.
he is the product. He
yes,
is the product.
but he's taking a big chance by going with Mixer, leaving his platform.
No, I think that
And-
that was a huge risk
Yeah.
for him, because you don't know, you really have no idea.
Hold on,
but
hold
at the same time, if someone's gonna give you a truckload
$50
of
million.
money,
That's not
No,
a
I-
risk, dude. Like,
I'm not talking about the money.
He was
I'm just saying
making-
as far as
Oh, okay.
subscription- like, I'm
Wasn't he
just saying
making like $1 million
far as-
in revenue a month?
something like that.
Yeah, oh yeah, over $1 million.
Yeah.
It was over $1 million. But like, what I
You think
mean
he's
is
gonna
that-
last 50 more months?
That's what I'm saying. Like, the set the money aside. Like, going from a platform that is like well known as Twitch to a platform like Mixer, like that. It's like it's hard to put a metaphor on it I'm just saying that's really unheard of. It's kind of almost to akin of like a big basketball player moving to like fucking
Nets.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Kevin Durant going to the Nets.
Right,
It's just like
but here's the thing, like-
you're not, but like it's a risk. At the same time, though, if someone's going to give you $50 million, you do it because
There's $50
I
million.
mean, right, I agree. Like, if you're just looking at it in a vacuum, yes, it's a risk. As like, you know, people couldn't have followed him over to the platform and whatnot. But like, to me, that's not really a real life risk. Like, if somebody is like, "Hey, come work at like this, whatever, just some job."
It's like, do you do it for the money, or are you doing it because it's gonna be a good thing for your career? Like,
right, exactly. If it's like, oh, I got to take a chance, and there's like no safety net, like, yeah, that's a risk. But it's like, hey, here's a $50 million sign-up bonus,
which is like 4 years. That's like 4 years income for him. So
right,
yeah,
that's not a real risk. Like in
4 years income, Jesus Christ.
And like the thing is, like, even if like he failed, then it's like, well, shit, like, just enjoy life. You have fucking more money than you should ever reasonably need.
No, absolutely.
Like, fucking do stuff.
So let's get into the streamers then, though. But go on. Wait, what were you gonna say? Finish your topic.
Say is, like, in a way, and I think I like said this to somebody on Twitter. Like, for me, it's a win-win situation because either now Twitch, you know, kind of like again with like Netflix or Steam and Epic Game Store competition. So now either Twitch, you know, needs to get their shit in gear because they still have some questionable policies in place and whatnot. They either have to compete, or in the other scenario, Ninja goes over to Mixer and absolutely flubs it, and I never have to hear about Ninja again. For me, it's an absolute win either way. So you know,
yeah. So
I'm wondering though, like, what was that process like for Microsoft and for like Ninja? Like, do you go up to the guy and say, like, listen, we're gonna sign a check, you just put a number in it, and then you come over and work for us?
Yeah, it was like
that. You know, it's like one of those.
I'm sure
$50 million for a personality. That's.
You know, here's the thing. I honestly feel
because it's a risk for Microsoft. I mean. Like,
yeah, but
think that this guy is gonna really like succeed for your platform too? Like, that's like there's risks on both sides.
Yeah, well, sure. But you know, here's the thing, and my suspicions here, and I have no proof or facts or data, but my gut feeling says that it must have been some, like, obviously behind scenes, like at some event, kind of like what happened with Notch, where somebody was like, how much would it cost to like sell Minecraft? Yeah. And he's like, I don't know, $2 billion or $3 billion, whatever it was. And like within like a year or two, like Microsoft's like, yep, we're buying it. And it's just like for $4 billion or whatever it was. You know, it's just like, okay. And I guarantee something probably somewhere happened where it's just like, so Ninja, what would it take you to like stream on Mixer instead? I don't know, like 50 million or so. And like some MS exec heard it, was just like, hold on, let's do the math on this one. Like, what's the ROI? Because like the thing is, this is an investment for Microsoft.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Like, just like they're securing developer house and stuff, like now they're securing influencers. Because like the thing is, like, if you think about it, they have 1 million subscribers, right now for Ninja, and it's given away for free. I get it, right? If they get a million subscribers every month, and it could go up, could go down, obviously. Let's just say 1 million subscribers times it by what, $5, right? Is, I think, a subscription. I don't know how it is.
Something like that.
I don't know what it is.
So $5 million, and they probably get half of that, and the other half goes to Ninja, right? Something like that is what I imagine. We'll just say that. So they're making $2.5 million next month. If it doesn't increase or decrease, it just stays the same.
Yeah.
So they'll make that back in 2 years' time, if not more. And then the thing is, it secures the health of that platform for Mixer. Because I personally...
and that's just subscribers alone. You're not talking about advertising.
Right, you're not... Yeah, exactly. I'm just talking about pure subscription revenue.
Right.
So the thing is, this helps them secure the life of their platform because, honestly, like, Mixer, it's just it's a giant question mark. It's like, hey, we're doing this, but is it succeeding? Whereas now it's like, well, I mean, if you're going to try to compete, you obviously go for the number one. Yeah, obviously. It's like, let's get the number one guy. Now that I would not be surprised to see other streamers now jumping on that. Like, can can you imagine if like they?
Well, I mean, Ninja's got friends that he probably streamed with a bunch.
Oh
and
yeah,
it's like,
absolutely.
He's gonna talk to him.
I'm sure.
And now,
W situation. For you
oh yeah, and you're gonna
guys.
see. I guarantee you, watch. You're gonna see this like bullshit with like Instagram, like celebrities and YouTube celebrities. Now it's like, hey, you know, come over and stream on.
I mean, you need to get that union now, boys.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that brings us into our topic of streamers and their influence in gaming. So basically, we have these access, and there's some really bad people, like I think, on like YouTube that were around, and that
YouTubers are trash. I'll just say that.
It's just
YouTubers are absolute fucking trash.
They just draw so much attention, and I mean, it has become a profession, as we just talked about for like the last, about Ninja, this big transaction he just did. People are doing this, like, and are a lot of people making money off of this? Not really, but the people that are making money are making a shit ton of money, right? I mean, that's what it looks like.
They used to be on YouTube. Now they have to get income.
And Twitch is really it. But like the introduction of this, like its influence in like sales of games, its influence on size of games, I think also kind of matters too, because when you make a game now, they're planning.
Yeah,
can they stream this?
I said this years ago. I don't know if anybody agreed with me, but I remember being so adamant about it. Like, that's what we're gonna start seeing. Like video games are gonna have like shit built in to appeal to that streaming audience. I'm like, look, lo and behold, like that's what you're getting now. This is the world. And I'm not saying it's all good, because like obviously there's a lot of parts where I'm like, maybe this was a mistake. Maybe the internet was a mistake. Maybe gamers were a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, is this something that is going to be? Is this beneficial to us? Like that's really my first question.
If you like games like Fortnite, yes. If you don't, no.
No, I wouldn't say that, because like there are games that like I think were helped to some level of success by streamers.
I will say actually everything in the fighting game genre is helped by it too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because you saw those magic moments.
It's kind of for me. I see it as like the evolution of like podcasts and stuff like that. Because like you get to know people, you get like know them. Air quotes here. You get to know these people, and you start to like either like the personalities and kind of start feeling like you're part of this community with this people, and like you get to interact with them directly. Before it was just like a magazine. You didn't really care about who the editors were, really. You just looked at numbers and read articles, and then you send a letter in, maybe they send something back. Now you're getting this direct communication. That's how, like, for me, like I said, podcasts were like that gateway for that. And now you're getting with the video and with the streaming. Now it's all real time, and you're getting these communities with these fan bases. And so these publishers are seeing that, and they're like, hey, this guy is really enjoying this game. Let's push that a little bit more, because all his fans trust this guy to say, like, hey, this is a pretty good game. And maybe, half his fans are going to go out and buy it. And he's got like 1 million subscribers. That's 500,000 purchases right there.
And, the thing is, like, for me, it was a useful tool because, like, as we've come so far along, there are more games being released every year than there have been the year before. You cannot possibly play all the new games. It's impossible. Yeah. But by watching streamers and people like you enjoy, and people that try certain genres out, like fighting games, RPGs, strategy games, whatever, you can see like, oh, they're trying this game out, and I can watch it. And then, up until recently, I used to never really question that. It'd be like, oh, they're giving me honest, real-time impressions. Like, oh, I like this, or I don't like that. That's weird. Like, why did that happen? Mm-hmm. And it's kind of interesting because like you're discovering this new thing with somebody like live, but it's gotten so successful to the point where like, a lot of streamers, the big ones especially, will be up at front and honest, like, hey, this is a sponsored stream for me to play this game.
Yep.
So like that. And it's like, okay, like, obviously I take that with a grain of salt, but there is a question mark in my mind where it's like, for those mid streamers, where it's like, hey, are you really being honest with your impressions right now, or are you just doing forced reaction? Because to me, that's what I hate the most, and it's people like PewDiePie, where it's just like,
that's the
I don't believe
example.
a word that guy says anymore. Like, I don't, like, I watch his video, like, I haven't seen a video of his in a while, but it's like,
he doesn't really do games too much anymore.
Yeah, well, obviously he's fucking like alt-right white supremacy.
He's lost all his sponsorships. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's doing fine.
Yeah, he's doing fine. I mean, I personally hope worse things happen to him, but
I don't really agree with you on that. I think he just says things, but for a rise out of people. But that's another story.
You don't think he's actually a racist?
No.
Okay. Like, I mean, he's said racist things multiple times. He paid people to have a sign that says "Death to Jews."
I know.
Like, how is that not?
Yeah, and
racism?
Even if he's not racist, like that's, you still don't do that. Like, that's just fucked up. Like, especially if you're not racist.
Yeah.
Like, it's.
I'm not going to talk to you guys about this. Just you don't know the context. It's all right.
What? I'm sorry. What context is that acceptable in? Like, let's.
Because he didn't.
I'm interested in this
he didn't think
conversation.
they would actually do it. He thought it would be funny. He thought, what was the worst thing they could do?
It was the whole. Oh, it was just a joke, guys.
It obviously was a joke from the beginning. It was on Fiverr, and he wanted to see what idiots would do stupid things on Fiverr, and if they would actually go through with it. And then once they did it, he was like, "Oh no!" You saw the whole thing there.
But that's the same. Like, I don't agree. I don't agree with people who like do that kind of stuff. Like, and that's fine. Like, if he wants to do that, like it's not gonna affect me in any way because I don't have any action with him. But I wouldn't want to deal with someone who, even if they weren't, or if they were saying they're not, and then they do things that would put them in a position to make it look like that. That's still like pretty shitty.
Yeah,
like don't put yourself in that position, man.
Yeah, you should not be in that position. And it's not a joke. What's the joke about it? I don't see the joke.
It's like joking about rape. And like,
yeah, it's not a joke.
Funny.
So that's why I don't like that. And there was the other guy who did the suicide
Ryan.
force. Yeah, the suicide force. Yeah.
Ryan Logan or
Ryan Logan.
Ryan,
that guy's a piece of shit too.
Paul or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, Paul. I don't know what Ryan.
He's same
He has
shit.
2 first names. He's a fucking
two first names. He's shit.
I mean, the influencer thing is not going away. That's for sure. Like,
it's not. If anything, it's just going to be more pronounced.
I mean, it's taking over more of the problem is it's
they're
taking
getting over more not control but more influence. They're getting more power to say in the industry, and it's not just video games too. Like it's like movies and board games and entertainment in general.
But can you imagine being like a professional, you work for GamePro or IGN or whatever, and you make maybe at best a decent wage reviewing games, doing journalistic articles, exposing whatever, and then here comes some fucking mid-20s douchebag that likes to scream at the top of his lungs and make overreactions to everything. It's we're gonna pay this dude $50 million to stream for this exclusivity. It's wow. Okay, so our entire organization.
Yeah, what I'm doing is shit. Yeah, that's what you're saying to me. That's the thing I was just gonna bring up. I'm you get great you get great topics and stuff from some of these news outlets, and you get some good information. But review wise things, I mean, they've really shifted their focus from doing a lot of reviews nowadays.
No, even a lot of the online outlets, the reviews are in video format, and the thing is that's it. Honestly, if IGN really wanted to get more views and stuff like that, they would hire these influencers to be hey, we want you to do a sponsored review.
Yeah, maybe they do.
Video games,
maybe they do.
And I'm sure there's a couple that do, but it should just fuck your video editorial guy. He's not gonna bring in shit. He looks like a fucking hipster asshole that you can meet off the street in San Francisco, New York City. You get this person.
Someone who actually went to college. What a piece of shit.
For them, it doesn't matter because the clicks.
I know, but that's again. I feel the influencers are bringing down the older guard to their level by being clickbaity and shitty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel I don't really watch any of the Twitch streamers. I don't watch any of that. I don't. So
I tend to not watch really any live. I don't watch Twitch really. I watch more of the edited YouTube videos later on, and I really only watch stuff now that are people who are into specific genres. There'll be a guy who plays a bunch of fighting games and just talks about them, or someone who gets deep into Rocket League and talks about stuff like that. That's what I'm more into. That's where I think the advantage of these people, and these aren't the biggest people, obviously. The biggest people are the ones who are doing the hot, funny nonsense over and over again.
Or Fortnite.
Fortnite.
Over and over again. But for me, what I think is valuable is when they can do a deeper dive in a certain genre than more traditional mainstream stuff can't do that.
Yeah. And that's what I like is the people I primarily watch on Twitch, because I do actually, is people who are really into a certain genre or game. I'll watch specific League of Legends streamers because it's they're trying out that new patch and I just haven't been able to play, or they're trying the new champion changes or something like that, and it's I can see what they do and I know how well that good they are, and I'll be okay, that's interesting, I didn't know that.
And you can watch someone who's at a high level playing a game that they're extremely good at.
Right, exactly. So that's one way I interact with Twitch. Another one is Magic the Gathering, because sometimes I just don't feel like playing the game or whatever, but I like to watch the game being played, and it's just right now it's just a great thing because
I can see that one. Yeah.
Other thing, or the third one I love and I always talk about is the speedrunner. Like watching somebody who's so good at a game to the point where like they are like destroying records and stuff like that. It's really satisfying. I don't know why. It's just you're kind of just rooting for them. Like you're like, come on, man! Like you can do it. Like beat that boss, get that perfect RNG, and it's just like when you see those records being broken like real time. I don't know. It's kind of like Corey, like you're saying, like you feel part of the community. Like the one guy I watched, he beat like the Final Fantasy VII like 100% speed run. I think it took him like 24 hours, and that was the world best at the time. But I was there live when it happened. Like I just happened to wake up. Right. I was like, why is he streaming right now? I clicked on it, and it's like he was on, like you can usually tell it's like we're on pace for world record like guys and girls, and it's like, oh shit, it's happening. And like you just see like donations pouring in because people are just like, that's how they cheer on, like donations, subscriptions, like all that kind of stuff, bits and all that stuff. And it's just like, it's really powerful. You're just like, oh shit, this is going to happen. And there are times where like, it doesn't happen. You're like, oh no. And that's low key. It's like, what is it? Schadenfreude, or it's like, oh no, it's like so horrible. But at the same time, like I get some enjoyment out of that.
Yeah.
So it's weird.
Yeah, I think for me, like, if I'm interested in a game, it's tough for me to like go to Twitch and watch it because I don't want to get. It's weird because I don't want to get spoiled. But so like I'm more of a traditional person for reading those kind of reviews and impressions.
See, yeah, I mostly like if I'm watching something, it's for a game I have already, and I just want to see.
And I remember doing that. Going back to Overwatch, I remember watching I watched a lot of that on Twitch. Actually, now I'm thinking about it, I was on Twitch for that. So, but I guess if you get into a game that deep, that might be something. But the thing is for me is I don't play a lot of multiplayer games, so that's for me. Twitch doesn't really pan out.
Yeah. Like one of the other runners, or one of the other streamers I watch, she plays a lot of like the Dark Souls types of games and stuff like that. So I like because I got into Bloodborne, like that's how I I found her because she was streaming Bloodborne and she was streaming like the other games. And like the thing is, I don't have any vested interest in the other games. Like I tried Sekiro and I was like, yeah, Sekiro is really good, but it's not Bloodborne level good. Yeah. So I was like, I don't really like if people. Like say Dark Souls isn't as good as Bloodborne, I'm not gonna waste my time with that. But I'm so interested in the game, so like I would watch her play that. I'm like, okay, yeah, I can see the challenge, but like, it's not. I don't see that reward or that payoff. And then, so one of the interesting ways that we interacted was she's like a super small streamer, but I was like, hey, since you like these games, you should try Hollow Knight. And she's like, yeah, you know what? You're right. Like, I've heard a lot of good things about it. And like a month later, she was playing Hollow Knight. It's like, yeah, like play Hollow Knight. And like. Kind of trolling her in chat. It's like, yeah, good luck with this boss. Hit enter. It's like, how many times do you think you're gonna like wipe on this one? It's just like you get that like just knife and you're just like twisting a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen like the chats and stuff. I think the chat just flies by a lot of these things. Like, how do they even read that?
Well, so that's the thing is that's where I don't like the big chats where it's just like it's like you can't even read it.
Oh yeah,
you
have like
and because of that, everyone's just writing out like show tits or stupid bullshit all the time.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's like the small to mid streams. It's fine because like it's more about the engagement and the interaction.
Yeah.
Like Overwatch League. When I watch that, it's like the chat just like auto hide. It's like fuck this. I don't.
Yep. I don't even pay attention to that. I don't even watch it on Twitch. Well, I think it streams through Twitch, but I just watch it through the app.
The other genre I do kind of like though is some retro playthroughs too. Those are fun too.
Yeah, retro playthroughs. Because you're like, oh shit, like somebody's playing Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Like, okay, I'll watch that. Like get that nostalgia hit real quick.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of interesting. Like one thing is like once you start to like people and they try games that you liked and stuff like that, it's kind of cool. You're like, oh nice, they're playing this, and like again, it's like, oh, I wonder how they're gonna like this story or this character or this gameplay mechanic and stuff like that. It's just kind of like interesting because it's like, in a way, it's kind of like an internet friend almost, but it's like more of a one-way street. But it's interesting. I think it's here to stay, obviously, and like any way that allows people to break the stereotypical like, hey, here's how you have to make a living. Because like in a way, I would say like it's a weird hybrid of like an artist and an entertainer / performer. Because like you're using somebody else's like product, but you're turning yourself into that product in a way. So it's kind of like I don't know. It's
you are. I mean, as an influencer, streamer, whatever, you are the product. I mean, it's like why do you go watch Jimmy Fallon over Colbert or whatever? It's because you want to watch the person do the same thing. They're doing like they're interviewing people, telling jokes, but it's like who do you prefer? And it's like it's the same idea here. And as far as that community thing, I think that's what's really most important for these guys is like you know, the big ones, they don't care anymore. Like they with the million subscribers, what the like, that's not a community anymore. That's just like fandom and you know whatever. But as far as like you were saying, like with the mid tier guys, like having that community and having that like not like ownership, but like being a part of something that's going on, like it makes you feel good. Like definitely, you do appreciate like, oh, like I was with this guy from the beginning, and like look at where he is now, and you know, you get that like hipster thing.
It's kind of funny too when they like do get to know you. Like that one person I was talking about, like I hadn't showed up because like work got super busy, and I was playing some other game, and it's like, hey, you know, what's up, you know. And they're like, oh, I haven't seen you in a while. How you been? Like, everything okay? And I'm like, yeah, just, you know, whatever. And it's kind of like cool because like that's when I could tell like a streamer's actually interested in their community rather than just like in it for like the clicks or the fame or whatever like that. So.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. So that's it. So, all right, I think that's gonna wrap up this episode. Thanks for tuning in. You can write us podcast at allyoucangeek.net. Follow us on Twitter at allyoucangeek. Like us on Facebook. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. We appreciate it. More topics coming up for you guys next week. Thanks for listening. Thanks for viewing. See you next week.